Before servicing this mower, always disengage or remove the batteries. Remove the decorative cover behind the seat. It is secured with 4 T20 Torx screws. Then disconnect the Type-C plug and 2 pin connectors on the right side. Release the 2 wires that link the right cover assembly to the left cover assembly by lifting them away from the 4 wire traps on top of the battery management system. Unplug the wire to the LED side light. Then unplug the white 4-wire connector. Then remove the 3 T20 Torx screws that secure the control panel box assembly. Then push the assembly toward the seat and lift it from the right side cover. Turn the control panel over and remove the 10 T20 Torx screws that secure it to the box. Open the box slightly and unplug the wire to the LED side light. Then pull the wires one by one out of the guide pillar as shown here, and open the box completely. Once the control panel box assembly is open, you can replace the following items: the LCD screen, control PCBA, phone storage box, start-stop button, PTO switch, LED side light PCBA and side light wires, and the Type-C wire. Separate the Type-C plug from the control PCBA. Be sure to remove the rubber sleeve to reuse it during reassembly. Remove the 10 T20 Torx screws securing the LCD screen to the control panel box. Apply dielectric waterproof grease to the Type-C plug when replacing the LCD screen. Remove the cord anchors as shown here. They're secured with T15 Torx screws. Separate the black and blue sockets from the control box panel. Unplug the Type-C plug that goes to the LCD screen. Be sure to remove the rubber sleeve and reuse it during reassembly, and apply dielectric waterproof grease to the Type-C plug. Then, using a T20 bit, remove the 3 screws that secure the key holder. To reassemble, connect the black and blue sockets along with the anchors, as well as the Type-C plug and the key holder. Align the wires in the grooves and secure them in the guide pillar using a zip tie. To remove the phone storage box, carefully release the 2 buckles, one on each side. To reattach the torsion spring onto the phone box cover, place the long side of the spring into the slot as shown. When putting the cover in place, the short side of the torsion spring goes into the right side of the rib. Be sure to orient the phone storage box in the proper direction when replacing it, lining it up with the buckles on each side. The Start-Stop button is linked to the blue socket. Removal of the button is easier if the phone storage box and key holder are removed first. Also, remove the anchor from the blue socket. Release the rib on the blue socket when separating the Start-Stop button. Then unscrew the nut ring to complete the removal. When inserting the new Start-Stop button, the power logo should point to the front of the mower as shown here. Tighten the nut ring, plug in the blue socket, and replace the key holder and phone box to complete the reassembly. Secure the cord as shown. The PTO switch is linked to the black socket. Removal of the button is easier if the phone storage box is also removed. Remove the T15 Torx screw and lift the cord anchor from the socket. To separate the PTO switch from the black socket, cut or snap the tabs on the switch body. There are 2 on each side. When inserting the new PTO switch, make sure the graphic appears as shown here. Plug the black socket into the switch and reassemble. The LED right side light PCBA, PCBA holder, and side light cover are secured with two T20 Torx screws. During reassembly, the PCBA snaps into the PCBA holder, which in turn snaps into the lens. It's important to make sure the narrower side of the lens faces down to ensure a proper fit in the side cover. When inserting the PCBA into the holder, the wire should be next to the side marked with an R. Be sure to align the PCBA wire into the wire trap during reassembly. When securing the cover on the control panel, route the wires through the guide pillar and secure them with a zip tie as shown. Pass the wires through the hole one by one. Before closing the cover, be sure to plug in the wires to the LED side light PCBA. After securing the cover with the 10 T20 Torx screws, place the control panel box assembly vertically onto the side cover and push the assembly outward as shown. Complete the reassembly by securing the 3 T20 Torx screws. To connect the right side cover to the mower, connect the 4-pin, 2-pin, and Type-C plugs as shown here, making sure to tuck all of the wires into the slots. Be sure to use dielectric waterproof grease on the Type-C plug. Mount the rear decorative cover and tighten the 4 corresponding screws. With parking chocks on the front wheels, lift the back end of the mower and place jack stands under the chassis just in front of the rear cover. Remove the rear wheels, which are secured with 21mm lug nuts. Continue by removing the seat assembly. Use a 6mm hex wrench to remove the 2 screws on the front side of the seat. Then move the seat forward to expose 2 hex screws that secure the steel rails to the suspension. Remove these screws, then lift the seat assembly and unplug the connector from the seat switch before removing the seat. Using a 13mm socket, remove the 4 hex bolts that secure the seat suspension base to the mower frame. Then remove the 4 T20 Torx screws that secure the decorative cover on the front of the seat. Release the seat wire harness from the hook. The seat suspension can now be removed. The decorative cover on the back of the seat is also secured with 4 T20 Torx screws. Using a 13mm socket wrench, remove the left and right steering levers from the mower. Next, remove the cover on the deck height adjustment handle. It's secured with 2 Phillips head screws and a 13mm nut. On the right side of the mower, unplug the Type-C plug and the black plug adjacent to it. These wires link the right side cover to the left side cover. Then lift the wires away from the 4 wire traps on top of the battery management system. To remove the right side cover, remove the 4 T30 Torx screws on top, starting with the one adjacent to the steering lever. Then remove the 2 T20 Torx screws that are underneath the fender. The right side cover can now be removed. To replace the seat wire harness, turn over the side cover and remove the 4 cord anchors secured with Phillips head screws. When reassembling, route the seat wire harness through the square hole and tuck it into the groove as shown here. With the battery box open, mount the right side cover assembly onto the mower. It is secured with 4 T30 Torx screws on top and 2 T20s underneath. Please refer to the EGO service diagram and parts list for specific parts needed for these repairs. Always use genuine EGO parts.